got you on top of the K&T, and this is looking into the hole here where the pin is going to go for the parking attachment. It looks pretty dirty, and I don't know if it's ever been used before. Looks like there might be some of the original paint in there. I really don't know, but I'm going to go ahead and clean this hole out. We're going to use a flapper. You go in there and flap it out. That way I can get a good measurement on it and compare it to the original pin. There's some chips and stuff down there, so I'm going to blow them out first. I'm just going to shine the light down in there and kind of give you a peek of it. I haven't mic'd it yet, but I wanted to go ahead and see how this pin's fitting. I'm gonna have to mic it, so that looks like that's the kind of fit we need. It does need to rotate though. So it's going in there, it's just really, really close. You hear that? Wow. Alright, so anyway, there you go. We're gonna go ahead and get started on this pin here and get this thing made and do a little bit of measuring and comparing and see what this hole's looking like right here. Alright, so I mic'd the pin where it fits here, and it measures 1.248. Let's see what we're getting. Right at 1 inch 250. Inch 250, so we should have 2/1000 clearance. I think there's a little bit of, I can still see that right there. It's not clean yet, and I think it's just binding up on that surface crud inside the hole there. So I think if I do a good job on the hole, cleaning it better, then our pin should fit, and we'll give it 2/1000 so that it won't bind up and it'll rotate. 1 inch 250. I don't know if you can read that, but maybe. Lined up on the 0. So the pin fits right there, and this is the set screw that'll go in, and you can actually lock it once you move this thing around where you want it. You can lock it with that set screw. There's an undercut on the pin there so that doesn't gall up the shaft. Alright, one more shot up here. I went ahead and cleaned it really good with my solvent. You can see that the hole is still really dirty. There she is. Alright, time to go make a shaft. Still a little dirty down in there, see that? Alright, let's use our little baby bullet to hold it. I'm going to get a measurement from end to end so I know how long I cut it. I'm going to use my 12-inch stirrup veneers right here, and I'm just going to do it like this here. 11.520, so 11.5 inches. That's what we'll make it right there, and we'll just maintain all of our links on this end and our hole location right here. But I did run the set screw in there off camera and just bumped it, and I can see that set screw is lined up perfectly on that undercut. So we'll try to maintain all this as the same as the original shaft here. There's another shot of the saw, how I use it. I plug it in. I got a heavy duty extension cord, and a while back I made that base for it right there with casters so I could easily move it around. But eventually this thing will be set up out here in a permanent basis where it's always ready to go, always ready to do some cutting. So got our piece measured out at 11 5/8, and I'm ready to cut it off. We're going to use the Monarch to turn this shaft. I wanted to get in on this lathe a little bit, and I went ahead and decided to mount the four jaw that I normally use over on the Victor over here on the Monarch. This is it's a lot better chuck than the other one. The screws and the threads inside the jaws are starting to get worn, so I would have liked to eventually try to find a replacement Cushman chuck to replace the other one there. It's, I believe that's 15-inch. So anyway, I already got the jaws preset, and we're going to go ahead and get this in there. Now that's as far as I can go right there, so we're going to do some light facing on it. And I wanted to say I am using the CPL filter there, and I tried to adjust it the best I could, but I noticed that the reflection from the fluorescent lights, it doesn't do a whole lot. It is helping, but whenever I was looking through it, let me go ahead and snug a couple of these up. But when I was looking through it a minute ago, trying to, you know, I was looking through it because you can adjust that thing, and I got it to where the best I could, looking at the fluorescent lights right there. But it just doesn't do a whole lot for this here, I don't think. I know I was able to look down the shop this way because I got the clip light on back here, and I could see it in the reflection of this picture over here in the window, and I was able to greatly reduce the reflection off of that. But some of you guys said that it helps in the video, so we're going to continue to try it. Maybe just putting the filter on itself helps break down on the glare. Alright, so we'll get it faced and face the length. Yeah, that'll work. That's 30 thousandths, so I cut it an 1/8 inch long, so that should give me, you know, a 1/16 on each end. So I'll make 2 of those cuts right there. Alright, getting a measurement on the length here to see what I need to face off the other side. I'm going to do that before I cut my center in. So we're at 580, looks like 583, 584, somewhere in that range. So, you know, about 80 thousandths to come off. See if you can give you a little better close-up of the indicating here. That's the 2 jaws that I loosened when I pulled the shaft out. And just pick a spot here and get her trued up. Those jaws are pretty well squared up, and it holds work pieces nice and straight and parallel. That's one of the reasons why I wanted to use this one right here. The jaws on the other 4 jaw are slightly bell mouth, just because it's very old and been used hard. Okay. Alright, so I loosened it up and I'm pulling her out, and what we're going to do going to turn this this shoulder link first and add that to it. So I'm going to stick it out about 8.5 inches. And re-indicate, and then I'll machine the center after this one here. Alright, 1 thou. It's about a half right there. Should be good enough. So our first shoulder length is 7 3/16, which I have already set using my hook rule right here. What I'm going to do is come down here to my 0. I'll show you another little trick that's nice to do so that you remind yourself when you're coming up to your stop point. I'm going to take this blue Sharpie, glue it a little, come up and just touch it. Alright, so that's a little reminder mark right there. Witness line. So we're going to try this DNMG tool that we used on the stress proof. Alright, so we're at, let's see here. Let's figure out what we want to do. 1 3/4, we're taking it down. We're going to take a 1/2 inch off of it. So let's just take some moderate cuts. Get a feed set up right here. Let's go about 15. So that's going to be BC. Alright, there we go. Wrong direction. All right. No, it's not liking that. It's seems a little too aggressive there. There we go. Okay. That's doing a little better right there. I have found that this tool doesn't like the high feed rates like some of your negative rate tools. I have to slow it down, and what I do is I just I play with it until that chip is sounding and looking like it's supposed to. We're going to go ahead and run our flood coolant on this job here. I haven't turned it on in a while. Let's see how that, I might have to slow it down a little. See how that'll work. Alright, seems to be liking that there. Pretty nice chip. That's a 1/4 inch total removal. I think I forgot to mention earlier when we started that this is that 4140 shafting, a piece that I got from McMaster Car. So that's what we're turning, 4140. Those little lines that you're seeing in the shaft is just stop points for what I like to call video purposes. Pictures and moving the camera and that kind of stuff. Alright, now we'll go ahead and get our mic out and we'll start measuring it. Alright, let's see what we're getting. That is 1.3. And that's 1.3. Looks like it's cut nice and straight. Alright, so we got 50 thousandths to come out of there. This is the side that I'm going to make a little bit oversized. If you watched the video where I did the line board and the K&T, I went like 4 or 5 thousandths oversized. So I'm gonna run down there and snap a measurement on it and see where I'm at and try to give it, you know, like 2 thousandths clearance or something like that. Alright, 25, 35, 40. Alright, still got 41, probably -5, so about 35 thousandths. Just dialed in 30 right there. So I'm gonna go 5 more and we're gonna make another cut. Alright, we're getting ready to make our finished cut here. I went down there and measured the tube and I'm getting a consistent 4 thousandths over, or 1.254, 254 and a half, somewhere in that range. So I think what I'm going to shoot for to finish this at is 1.252. Alright, so now I'm getting like a thousandths. I'm getting a little bit of thousandths taper in there. So, and that sometimes happens whenever you're making heavy cuts and everything's measuring straight and perfect. Then you come back to make some light cuts and then you start getting taper. It's just it's one of those things that happens on these machines that you got to deal with. So let me see what I was down here, because that was my small end. So 25, 35, 36, and 37. So what, 35 is where I want to finish at. Alright, let's see. I want some to bring it down slightly. That tool isn't leaving the best finish on this. It's smooth, I don't like the finish, but I like the radius that it's leaving in the corner right here, and that's why I'm keeping it in there. Alright, so that's 5 over right there. So what I'm going to do is just bump it in 1. And I'm going to let it finish right there. I'll end up doing some filing and some polishing and bring it down where I want. Okay, 4, so that's right on metal to metal. Now we're tapering up a little bit. There's 5. Okay, there's 5. So we got 1 thou taper. That'll work. I'll go ahead and start getting this filed and blend it in now. We'll do our chamfer our corners, but first thing we'll do before all that, we need to go ahead and turn this diameter right here. That's going to be this guy right here. So let's see what that is. One inch 725. So that's not very much. That's just 25 thousandths right there. It's about 3/4 wide. All right. We'll use that tool to put some chamfers on it. This one's got a pretty wide chamfer, and this one we're just going to break it. Filings there. Just use a file brush. The trick is when you're doing filing like this on a lathe, is trying to keep a file or find a file that hasn't been used a lot in the center, because then what you'll find is that when you go to file, it's cutting on either side, and then it starts digging in and leaving scratches in your surface. That's one of the things I hate whenever I go to file and I can't find a good file to slick it down with. So I keep this one on the lathes, and I try not to. This side right here does better than this side, and it's got a little bit of metal stuck in there, but it's an old file, but it's nice and flat though. Getting it down to where it's straight now. Alright, I've got a consistent 4. So right now we're about metal to metal. So now I'll work the whole thing a little bit and try to bring it on down a little more. If I just get another thousandths off of it, I think I might leave it there and actually test fit it. If it's a slight bump fit on there, that's fine. The better to fit, the better it is. I just don't want to force it on there and have to hammer it on. That's the only thing. And it should take it down a little bit more once I hit it with some emery. Yeah, so we're down to about 253 to 253 and a half right here. So I'm going to go ahead and find me some emery and go ahead and polish it a little bit. $253. Alright, that looks like maybe a couple tenths over and about a half over. So I need to work this area a little bit more. there we go. 253. 253. I think I'm there. I think that'll work. I'm gonna polish this a little bit. I'm gonna go get a different file and just file the corners there. And after that, we might go try it in the main body of the parking attachment. All right, let's see if it'll fit. Ooh, it's close, man. It is close. Now I'm gonna have to take a little bit more. So I'm getting a bad reading in there somewhere, I guess. Yeah, you can see where it's trying to rub. Make sure that's not them holes there. I'll tell you what I do first before I set that back up. I haven't ever done a flapper in this thing. Let me go ahead and flap this, that one I was using earlier, and blow it out real good, and let's see if that'll clean it up some. Make sure there ain't no more of that filing dust on it there. Man, it's so close. Now I'm gonna have to give it a little bit more. It's just I'm not getting a perfect reading on the hole. This is what works really good, just a homemade flap, 1/4-inch rod with a slit cut in the end, and you wrap your flap paper around it there, your emery paper, I mean. It's looking better. That's all it was. Just had some burrs in there, some high spots on the you know, the tool marks in there where it was boring it. There was just some high spots. That's actually a good fit though. I'll set it up and just kind of buff them lines out of it, make it look a little more pretty again, really softly, and we'll go ahead and get down here and turn this other end.